What is up, guys? Andrew here, and welcome to Comicbooker, all things comics from a creator. Oh my gosh, sorry it took so long to get online. I was really struggling with the verification stuff with YouTube just to like connect like the streaming software to YouTube and stuff. But anyway, now that we've done that quick exposition, I am working on a couple of single images. It's sort of been this stretch of time after I finished my last episode of Aquaman. Season 1 is wrapping up soon, so if you want to catch up, now's a good time. And yeah, it's just been me working on a bunch of single images. This isn't quite a cover, this is a well, I'm doing it like a cover, but it's my understanding is it's gonna be like a social media post or something for DC Comics. So hopefully, I can finish it. I just making a really small edit this morning, and then I am gonna send it in. Right now, my whole thing is just so I'm working from home because of the winter storm here in New York. We've kind of been holed up for a few days since the whole weekend, and it's pretty bad outside. It's like at least where I live, there's very a lot of things that still haven't a lot of ice that hasn't melted, a lot of buried cars in snow and just general slipperiness. So if you live in New York or you live in, the coast, which was hit by the winter storm, I hope you're staying cozy. I hope you have groceries, all that stuff. And I think it's really cool in a weird way that this is happening while I have this cover commission because, as you can see, it's very much a winter type of thing. So I'm really imbibing the vibes of reality as I work on this piece. And if you're new here, this is whoop, here we go. I'm gonna up the volume. Sasha Bierman says, hello from Germany. Your voice comes across a little quietly, but of course I can correct that on my end. Let me see. I'm upping my volume a little bit, so hopefully that helps. Testing 1, 2, 3. Okay, I think that's good. I think that's better. Let me know on your end if that works. So yeah, what was I saying? Yeah, winter storm here in New York, crazy time. Ironically, doing a bunch of winter pieces for cover work. And this is a DC Comics thing. You can probably recognize some of the characters. And if you're new here, this is Draw With Me. So I'm going to play a little music, and hopefully if you're feeling inspired, you'll draw with me. And I'll talk a little bit about what I'm doing as I'm doing it. So this is going to be a short stream, shorter than my usual, because I actually have to run to work after this. I'm going to be working from home, but like I have to hop on to work. So we're going to get a bunch done, hopefully, in this time, and then I'm going to high off. But yeah, I hope you're having a cozy time wherever you are. Here's a little music. I'm just gonna modulate that as I go. Okay, there we go. And just a little more exposition. One of the things I tried with this piece is to kind of change how I work. Unlike some of the other oh boy, that's a bit loud. There we go. Unlike some of the other pieces I've done where I usually do flats first, what I did with this is I did black and white first. And so I'm kind of like painting it monochrome. And that's because I was like, I after doing like several issues of Aquaman where I'm not the primary colorist, and I just kind of leave it to the colorist. I was really excited to jump back into coloring, and one of the things I was thinking about was how it's cool to like bring in some of my painting training into this. And one of the things we learned in painting is this whole art of grisaille. And in a grisaille, you are, as you are painting a live subject, right? You usually do it with just one color at the beginning, and that way you can sort of get a bead on the values. The value structure is just how light or how dark things are. And in painting, especially like when we talk about color, there's a very wide agreement that value is probably the most important aspect of color, how light or how dark things are, because you know that's like initially how we tend to see things, right? The other aspects are hue and chroma, and so hue is like the local color, you know, whether it's green, red, blue, and then chroma is the saturation, which is just how intense that color is, and these are all things we can modulate as we move forward. But the value, there's this I forget who it was. Gosh, a big painter, maybe it was Sargent or I don't know, but he said that you can commit all your crimes in hue and chroma, as long as your value is good, right? And so yeah, that's what I'm doing here. I'm making sure that the value is good, that it reads really well in black and white. And if it reads really well in black and white, it doesn't super matter. It matters, but it doesn't super matter how good your hue or chroma are. Which obviously I still care about and I still want to modulate, but I'm putting like 90% of my love onto the value scale. So yeah, hopefully that explains things. And I think that looks pretty good to me. I might mess with this just a little more, like just a little there. And I'm using a flat brush here, and then I'm using the smudge tool set to a watercolor brush to kind of like give it softer edges. But it's nothing too fancy. A lot of other people will do stuff like this, and it's just to get stuff down. I did like a flat here, boom, boom, of green, and I just am making sure that the edges are not too visible when I go in. And I'll show you some of the other stuff I've been working on, but I just need to get this out the door to DC because they need to schedule this out this morning. I promised I would send it in this morning, so we're gonna finish this on the stream so that you guys can see the final cover, and then I'm gonna jump to some of the other covers I've been working on. And then I think what's nice about this, so this is Beast Boy, by the way, if you're wondering. He's Beast Boy in a groundhog form, because he can turn into different animals. And obviously it's you know, it's a made for Groundhog Day thing. So all right, I think that looks pretty good. I'm gonna remove the black and white filter, which I've been using all this time. Good. I'm gonna try to make sure I have no stray black and white stuff here. Just gonna select around that flat and then erase into this so that it's clean and there are no issues. Merge this down, and then my other thing is I need to figure out what the local color I used for the bottom was. So you'll see what I was trying to do in the first place. So this is the original version, you can see all my layers down here, and you can see some of the rendering I did. And if I do this, you'll actually see my flats. So let me just unlock this layer. It's my precious flats layer. There we go. Boom. So this is the flats layer. You can see, let's not ruin. That's why I lock it, so I don't mess with it too bad. And then you can see how everything looks with just flat colors. And I think it looks pretty cool. But obviously looks better with that. And if I take that out, you can kind of see, like, you know, all the painting I did, black and white painting I did to just get it to that point. There we go. All right, so now that I have that, this is gonna be a clipping mask, and I'm gonna put, and then I'm gonna put this green on top of it. Did it not show? There we go. So that it sits on top. I'm gonna put that white background I did in. Here's the pencils. And this green will be set to a color layer. There we go. And that looks a lot better. Shoot, I realized I did a thing here that I don't like. I'm gonna clean it up a little. I accidentally painted into my line work layer, if anyone's ever done that. Super annoying. But nothing we can't fix, so we'll get that in. And now that I can see the colors and everything, I'm just gonna modulate the darks just a little bit more, just to make sure that the light looks good. There we go. Boom. All right. And then one more thing. Just gonna throw some of this here. Honestly, like, I love painting. I could do this forever, this part. It's just so relaxing. Like the slow build up of value. It's so fun. And then one last thing, which is to get kind of a neutral color into this teeth formation. There we go. Actually, it should be a little yellow. There we go. It's a little better. And then there's the finished piece. One other thing is in my layout, I had these red sort of expression lines coming out, so I'm just gonna do those in like a cute cozy red. So I'm gonna do that. Boom. And just clean this up. Boom. And yeah, that should be it. That should look good. Now last thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put these all in a layer. Here we go. That I can toggle on and off. So this is the looks at shadow layer. Here we go. Boom. See how that works? Now that I'm looking at it, I realize there's like a little bit of a blush. So I'm gonna do that too. I'm gonna use a soft brush like Forester And we're gonna turn that on and just put a little bit of color in the cheeks, right? It's a little anime groundhog. And that's it. I think this is good. My signature's over here. Always sign your work, guys. And I think this is done. This took a while. And if you want to see its progress, I actually have a time lapse here. So you can kind of see, I started with this. Oh, yeah, let me show you the sketch. This was the sketch, the initial sketch. You can see I kind of did it from scratch. Boom. And then colored it up. And then this is the final. And you can see as I did it, I started with the sketch here. And then I kind of started drawing over it with like a pencil layer. And then I went into an inking phase where I inked it the heck out, right? Making sure it was all good, tweaking things here and there, and then flats. And then this long part, which is where I did basically black and white value arrangement. And little highlights, all this other stuff, and then there you go. We are golden. Alright, so that's done. Now I'm gonna show you another thing I did recently, and this is the VFriends Driven Dragon cover. I'm really proud of this. I thought it really went well. I was using the same value scale thing for it. So you can see how I built this page. Just sort of sketching in the concept, trying to figure out the spacing for everything. And then I guess I started with the logo first. Yeah, that's what happened. Just trying to make sure like the words fit in really well before I started really drawing around it. And then we went into a pretty cool inking phase. Actually, this is pencils. I was just penciling it, trying to get the anatomy down, making sure like everything was the right proportion. There's a little mouse riding on top of the dragon, you can see. And there's another dragon over here chasing him. And you can see a lot of negotiation here because actually the big thing is I did an inking thing here, and then I inked the other dragon. The big thing here is the environment is a major personality in this piece. And so, you know, everything sort of hits certain lines here and there just to get everything in. And then last thing is I did what I did with the other cover, the Groundhog Day cover, where I did a black and white painting to get the value relationships great. So you can see here me sort of figuring out how the light would hit all these various forms, and then just kind of letting the things come forward and things come backward. Because what you really want with a two-dimensional image is you want to make sure that it has for this type of style that I'm doing, you want to make sure it has depth. And you want to like make it so that the person feels like they're falling into the picture plane. It's the illusion of a three-dimensional world that you can kind of fall into. So that's what I did here. I did a lot of rendering on the clouds. But then it's supposed to be just like a really like faint background element. And you can see here me doing a bunch of flats on it to get the color story right. So this is where I'm in the realm now of hue and chroma, trying to figure out how intense the colors are and what the exact local color is for each element. And there's a lot of negotiation there. Also, I was doing a bunch of highlights for the icicles and all this other stuff. And then we just got closer. I started painting in like the actual final hue. And I really like how the color story of this one is very gentle. I really wanted like a cozy feeling with this cover. So yeah, that's the final cover. You can see the little mouse down there. You can see all the cool icicle stuff. And I really like how the cloud effect happened. It wasn't like the actual like rendering of these darker areas was a lot of work, but the actual like painting of that beautiful glow was so quick and easy. It was just really satisfying. So yeah, that's the second cover I did in the past week. And the third one I'm working on. So like obviously this is like a DC superhero thing. And then this is like a children's story, like a children's storybook type thing, about racing dragons. And then this is sort of like an Adult Swim comedy cover. This is for a book called Super Guy, that is written and drawn by a couple of friends. They are independent creators. Whoops, let me just tweak the music. There are a bunch of independent creators, and they asked me if I could do a cover for them. So this is the cover I'm working on. And then if you look, I don't think it's visible on stream, but I'm gonna darken the pencil so you can kind of see what the cover is supposed to look like. It's gonna look like that. Yeah. And so right now I'm in super inking mode, trying to get the lines looking really good. But I'm gonna use the same process I used with the previous two images, where as soon as I'm done with this inking, I'm gonna jump into a bunch of flats. And then once the flats are done, black and white, and like manage the value scale. And I think that's that's kind of the process I'm obsessed with right now. A lot of other the way comics are often colored, it's usually like flats, and then you render in the flats with like a shadow layer that's set on like multiply 30, and then you render in the highlights on a highlight layer that's set to like screen 30. And that's sort of like the look of like a lot of computer colored comics since like I would say the late 90s, early 2000s. But there's so many more ways to approach it these days, and a lot of those ways borrow from traditional media like painting. And I think this is a cool one because I feel like it's making my work have a very distinct look. So that's what I've been trying. Yeah, anyway, just sharing. Now jumping back into actual inking. And I'm gonna check the chat. If you guys have questions or comments or other stuff, feel free to leave them in the chat. I'm happy to respond. I just realized this is my first live stream of the year. I'm really sorry, guys. I haven't been posting as much on the channel. It's been busy through 2025. So and I always say this, but like as much as I love YouTube and I love sharing stuff, I think if I'm getting my priorities right, the comics always have to come first. So If I disappear for a little bit, I hope you understand. And just have faith that I'm probably making a lot of comics behind the scenes. But yeah, I'm talking to someone, um, uh, and we're plotting some stuff that will hopefully result in more content on the channel this year. I think I really wanna. There's a bunch of tutorials I wanna do to kind of help people. I know a lot of people who follow me are artists, um, and the more I dive into the world of professional comics, um, the more I feel like there's so much I want to share, to kind of help people, you know, do their thing, right? And maybe they'll find some tips and tricks, from the stuff that I'm doing, things that they can use in their own stuff. Uh, yeah, it's been a crazy year. 2025 was a wacky year. I hope 2026 is a lot friendlier. But I'm grateful. I think working on my first DC series, Aquaman, was like a huge change, and it really transformed me as an artist. Like having to do those deadlines, trying to figure out what my work looks like under the time pressure. It was such a uh, it was a gauntlet. But I came out of it. I feel like so much stronger as an artist. Like I feel more confident in what I can do in a limited time, and I'm really excited because I feel like uh, DC seemed really happy with how I did there. So I'm hopeful um, that my next project is awesome. It feels like it's on its way. In the meantime, I have all these other little things to get done, and my day job. So we're not we're not gonna struggle to buy groceries or anything like that. Yeah, so you can see this girl. This is the president's daughter, and she is a hyper angry Hulk type character, mutated by government experiments, and seeking vengeance on this our hero, a schleppy sort of like lazy Superman archetype named Super Guy, who is kind of like all shades of awful, but it is kind of that Rick and Morty Adult Swim style story. So a lot of it is like there's really like a big parody thing going on. And then there in the back, there's the sidekick robot man dude who's also helping. I completely inked the logo, and decided and drew the entire hoagie sandwich. Actually, the original logo is a hoagie sandwich, but I wanted to just make the line work better with my work. So I just re-inked it, and then I have all these Akira style like destroyed buildings and stuff in the background. So that's gonna be fun to do. Not too much. And then we're gonna do some rubble. Just so much rubble. I think I can do this. I feel like it's something like that. All right. This is kind of like a live electric wire, so I'm gonna draw some crazy SFX here. It's also a light source, which I'm gonna use later on to kind of do like highlights here on the musculature. I kind of planted two light sources in this piece as a way to like paint cool shit later on. Oh, there's a bunch of people. Hello, Deborah, Sasha. Oh, Silver Phantom LX. Hello, guys. Welcome to the stream. Sorry, I didn't notice till now. I hope you're all having a good day. This it is morning here in New York. Morning right before work. So, just getting a stream in before I have to hit my day job. There we go. Okay, so that's kind of on its way. Like honestly, guys, I could draw rubble forever. I love drawing rubble. It's just so relaxing. Broken streets, concrete that's sort of been had impact damage. It's so fun because you can just kind of play around with the shapes and, you know, do whatever. Silver Phantom LX asks, what brush are you using for line art? So I'm using one of the default brushes in Procreate right now. This is Kyle T. Webster's new Procreate library, and if you can find it here in the comics tab, it's called Indigo. And after like playing with all of the, well, I haven't played with everything yet because it's like 150 brushes, but I've played with many, And this is my favorite so far for inking, Indigo. And it's replaced my last favorite brush, which was also made by Kyle T. Webster, Too Smooth to Be Forgotten. So yeah, try it out, it's fun. I like that this brush has like a thin version here, but if you twist the tip, actually here, I'll show you. See how it's sort of like an oval shape? I don't know if you can see that. But this oval shape, so you can have a really thin line, or a really, like, if you just flip the pen on the side, you can have a thicker line. And you can also do a thin to thick, which I really enjoy, like that. So yeah, you can get a bunch of different weights out of this, which I enjoy. I think it's a solid comics inking brush, you know, and gets me the effects I want. Yeah, I think I did the other thing with this brush too. Let me check. Yeah, this was also indigo. So I used indigo on this piece for the main black and white line work, not the painting part. And I also, I'm sure I did it with this too. Yeah, that's indigo. Yeah, so yeah, check out indigo, see if you like it as much as I do, you know. And also figure out what kind of artist you are in terms of like brush weight, because I've noticed this is reductive, but you know, it's something I've observed. There are like two main camps of like line art artists, and one camp is very much like the people like me who are like they're pen artists. They like microns, they like rot rings, they like using ballpoint pens and stuff like that. They basically like a stable line that doesn't vary too much. And the other camp is the people who are brush users. And you know, these are people who are obsessed with like the Pentel the Copic Gassen Fude inking brush, a bunch of the jet pen stuff. You know, obviously you can mix these effects. There are people like Daniel Warren Johnson who mix them healthily all the time. But usually your tastes lean one way or the other. And when it comes to digital brushes, if you are like the pen type like me, you will prefer brushes like indigo. And if you're more of a, you know, an elegant brush type person, you may want to seek out brushes that have like a higher variable weight to them. Which there are here. I mean, if you look at this, Ambrose, I think, is one of them. See, look at that. Beautiful. Very brushy line. Actually, I kind of like this. And then Franklin is another one. Also very much like a brush. I think it's trying to mimic a Winsor Newton number 2 brush. Something like that. That's my feeling. I don't know what Kyle's thinking was. But these are great brushes. And I wish there were more. I know Kyle is like a master and probably had like double the amount of brushes that we actually got in the final. I think their goal was not to overwhelm people too much with like a huge dump of brushes, but like sometimes more is more. All right, that's good. Yeah, so this is the second light source over here. That I'm gonna render in as soon as I get this rubble finalized. I'm not sure what this thing is in the front. I just kind of threw a shape down there. I guess it's maybe it's like a car hood. Just awkwardly placed. I might do something like that. Boom. And some sort of symbol here. Maybe Toyota, or actually maybe I shouldn't. One of the things I noticed about working at DC is if you throw in like a very recognizable brand like Nike or a Converse, or I sometimes draw like the Nike swoop on character shoes, just like background characters or whatever, or a Converse logo or whatever, and I always get a note, please change that, make it something like different. So I guess we're avoiding some kind of drama with like copyright laws or something, but that's a funny thing that I didn't realize, because like you don't realize that when you draw your own comics no one's telling you stuff like that. But I guess you can run afoul of Nike and Converse and those people if you do it wrong. So here's a generic car hood thing, not Toyota. And hopefully that doesn't get people in trouble, right? I'm gonna draw some speculars over here. Boom. And then I can continue drawing the rubble. Yeah, when I'm inking, when I'm drawing, I usually tend to like work from background to foreground. Foreground to background first. That way I can see what the stuff in front is blocking, like over the back. But it depends. Depends on the image. It's not a hard and fast rule, but it's usually a good way to approach the image. Silver Phantom Alex says, the one thing I want to learn is how to make brushes. Dude, you and me both. Like I I want to make brushes too, because I just feel like I could make a bunch of cool ones. I'm so into brushes, yeah. Watch a YouTube video. I'm sure there's like tutorials out there. And Procreate has one too. It's just, I feel like it's a day's investment. You gotta like sit down and really be like, okay, I'm gonna make brushes. Boom, boom, boom. Shaping up okay. I'm gonna lower the opacity of the pencil so I can kind of see if I like it. And then I want the cracks to kind of fade away when we get to this part. Boom. Actually, it should fade. It should fade. All right. We're just gonna put a couple of rocks there. There we go. And actually, I gotta go to work soon, so I'm gonna end the stream in 5 minutes, guys. Um, so pace yourselves, and we're gonna wrap this up. And I'll see if I can get on another stream. I don't know, Friday or Saturday, and I'll show you how this went. Whoops. Like a bit of rubble stuck there. There we go. And then maybe a license plate number that's been warped up. Boom. Yeah, that's the fun about these things. When you have the main drawing done, one of my favorite things is just like throwing things into the background, like little detail shots. They're not necessary, but I always find it fun when I'm looking at someone else's work and you see something they snuck in there. That's not the main focus, but it's a joy. Boom, 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 boom. And I feel like the windshield should be broken based on what's going on. So actually, let's break it. Let's give it that spiderweb windshield broken look. And that's gonna be fun to paint a little too, because broken glass is always like crazy with speculars, and so throw a bunch of little highlights there. Not too much so that this distracts, but enough. And I think this is a truck, if I'm right. It's a truck that's fallen on hard times. Poor guy. He spent his days dreaming of being Optimus Prime. And he's grievously wounded, but he'll recover from this terrible Hulk attack. Boom, boom, boom. There we go. Okay. Looks good. Looks semi-decent. Put something there. Like that. I think that can go to black. Yeah, something like that. this is gonna go to black. Boom. And that's all the time I have for today. So that I hope you guys enjoyed the stream. Thank you guys for being here. Vlad Lazo says that looks really painful. Oh yeah, absolutely. So just also, I haven't mentioned this, but this cover is an homage to one of the great Batman artists. His name is Kelly Jones. You should look up his Nightfall cover. Nightfall. That's Knight. It was a 90s storyline where Bane is basically he broke Batman's back. It's on the cover, so it's not a huge spoiler. But yeah, this is an homage to that. I'm gonna put a note on that somewhere on this cover. And Ethan, Lou, Art, hello, welcome. And I'm really sorry, but I have to end the stream to go to work. But I hope you all have a lovely rest of your week, and we'll talk soon, okay? Peace.